I've learned something about how Trixie and Katya do their podcast. Are you a listener to their podcast still?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm obviously a potentially late in life, but like late stage adopter of like all things Runeverse. But I've come up quick, and I've learned when they're on tour and they do the podcast live, even though they hit similar beats every night, they don't talk to each other during the day, so that it all comes out during the pod. So that's why when we're texting, I'm like, wait. Let's just like stop. Let's put it on the record. We have both moved since the last time either of us were on camera, let alone the last time both of us were on camera. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
The reason that I rushed us on in our respective new locations, we're in like crazy release season, and it's with a hyper focus on pop ladies. We have a girly who we have some history with uniquely, and I think I'm only on to her because of you. She's squarely in that category.
Is that true?
I think so. And friends, we're talking about Jess Glynne. You know what else we have to do? We have to watch the J-Lo movie.
Oh my God. And then we have to talk about how Pitchfork gave it the same score as the Taylor Swift album.
No, a higher score by 0.6.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
So actually, I think it was the same score as the actual Tortured Poets Department album that was released at midnight, but 0.6 higher than the surprise double anthology that came out 2 hours later. So they are saying canonically,
both of them.
They sure did. They surely did.
With a written review?
That's a great question.
That might be the point at which I jump on board the YouTube comment, Instagram comment hate train against Pitchfork for being like a pop simp. That's it for me. If they're not just reviewing Taylor Swift and doing so on time, but they're reviewing both versions within the first day.
Okay, no, in fairness, you're right. No, you're right. There's one review, and then there's a little button that you can click to go from the original album to the anthology, and you can see both scores. So you're right. It's one review.
They put a button. They had a product team make a button for Taylor.
You can literally...
Well, so
you go to the Tortured Poets department, and it says, okay, here's the score. It's a 6.6. And then there's a little arrow under it that you click, and it scoots the picture over to the anthology, and it gives you the 6.0.
Does anyone else have an arrow? Or is this just her?
Before on Pitchfork,
this is the Taylor arrow. Well, are they also... I wonder if they're doing that for the Taylor's versions. Do you think they're like red and then red Taylor's version? What did Cowboy Carter get?
I think it was
Was it
8?
in the 8s?
I think it was an 8.
But not Best New Music. Oh, no, it is. It is Best New Music. 8.4.
Oh, 8.4. Okay. That makes me feel a little better.
Which is, I think I took issue with it at the time because that is, I think, higher than Lemonade, but they maybe not, but it was lower by a lot than Renaissance. Renaissance was a
9.
Points. I mean, what is 0.6? 0.6 isn't real, but...
Well, 0.6 is the difference between J-Lo and Taylor Swift, so it's quite large, actually.
So it's very real. We also are living in the wake of Ariana, Casey, Justin Timberlake, but that wasn't much of a wake. Shakira, which I have not listened to because it's a full Spanish album. So I don't know how much I can... Oh, was it?
Bad. It was bad.
Oh, Pitchfork rating 3 point something?
She was going for... She sounds like Doja Cat on it. Not her singing voice, but like the music. It sounds like something that would be put out by a Gen Z artist. Like she's very, very clearly chasing trends. And so I listened to it and then I was like, I could get this from the source.
From someone
else. I don't
else.
need it.
Yeah,
I don't need it filtered through Shakira.
Christina Aguilera, we were literally just texting about this too, went through the same thing. Where, like Shakira, Christina has been gifted the blessing and the curse that you cannot mask that voice. And that voice is not a chameleon. The voice is what it is. Shakira's voice is Shakira's voice. She's never going to like... if Shakira auditions for The Voice, we know who's back there. Like, same thing with Christina. So, like, you can chase trends, but, like, it's always going to be, like, your voice. It's like a character voice on top of a trend. It's not going to, like, meld. So I guess that makes complete sense to me. I'm looking to see if Pitchfork reviewed it. Okay, they did review it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They gave it a 7.
I saw the score and I just didn't even read the review. I was like, there's nothing for me here. I'm not going to find my people in this. So I'm just going to...
They gave it a 7. And again, this will not be a pod where we review critically the Taylor Swift new album, but we will refer to the fact that it received a 6 and a 6.6. Okay, so Shakira is a 7. We'll basically weigh the rest of the year's pitchfork against the Taylor Swift and maybe the J Lo releases because they were first and they're ridiculous. And then we had Beyonce, Tori Kelly, which came through in April, but was really an extension of what she released last year. So none of it felt particularly new to me, and everything that was new, none of it was as exciting as what came out last year. It was good. I really like it. Then we had Taylor, and now we have Jess Glynne. Jess Glynne's initial work, which was let's see, singles leading up to a 2015 album. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
With
correct.
the absolutely god awful title "I Cry When I Laugh," and the cover is her like with like her mouth open, but like actually similar to the Shakira album, like a tear situation being like CGI'd in, but she doesn't look facially like she's crying or laughing. So in 2015, Jess Glynne emerged as an artist, but had potentially been songwriting before that because she's very much a songwriter for one of another artist that is in my sphere because of you, Little Mix, and some other pop artists, especially in the UK. But this 2015 album, like we said over text message about 20 minutes ago, I think, first off, it was great, right? Like, I loved it. Did you feel positively about it?
Oh yeah, I adore it. I mean, and also I gotta say, I will claim absolute credit for introducing you to Little Mix because I had an
Yeah.
unhealthy preoccupation with British singing shows. But I think if I'm remembering this correctly,
There's nothing
our
unhealthy
Jess
about that.
Glynne, oh yeah, well fair. Um, our Jess Glynne awareness, I think, originated from our friend Bryce. We had heard Jess Glynne the year
Come on,
before
Bryce. We
that.
live for you. We
Right,
live.
Bryce's music taste is, yeah. But
Oh,
we had heard Jess Glynne because of Rather Be. That was her first like big exposure.
that's right.
But
She
that
was
was the
featured.
Clean Bandit feature, right?
That's right. So Clean Bandit came out in the like early 2010s. I remember Clean
Right.
Bandit's emergence from like the Ellie Goulding pop of the 2010s. It was like sparkly. I don't know if Clean Bandit's British, but I think they're British. And they were this like little pop orchestra. It was like if Yellow Card became like a pop, but like kept the violin, synthy, disco, little like orchestral chamber thing, and then had a rotating slate of singers, like pop singers, kind of like what was then starting to happen with Calvin Harris and all the other people who would like put an album out, but every single song had a different feature, right? And they would go through, I think they even maybe went through some of like the British X Factor singers. I think, was Louisa Johnson one of them?
Yes, Louisa Johnson, absolutely. They were also an early Lizzo collaborator before Lizzo was Lizzo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think Lizzo was on their 2014 album, I want to say, like years before she was anyone, the way she is now.
Oh, Jess was featured not one, but two, maybe two times, because she also was on Real Love, which was another single, which I think was more of a UK thing than it was in the US. I don't know if Real Love was a thing here, although now I'm having hazy memories of being in like an H&M and Real Love playing. Oh, you know who we had? Wow, they had Alex Newell in 2014. Do you know them? They're like a Broadway
Oh
singer
yeah,
now.
I know Alex Newell because of Glee.
One of those voices that hits like a Martha Wash. Like you're like, oh, it's so powerful. Like put it over all the dance music. Like this is what dance and house music is supposed to be. It's supposed to be this like unreal voice on this beat. And that's kind of what Jess is too, but Jess is like the white girl version of it. She's like the blue-eyed soul version of it.
They originally rose to fame because they were on a show called The Glee Project back in 2011, where
Go
were
off.
literally a nobody. I think they're almost exactly my age. Yes, okay. Alex Newell is 1 month younger than me. So in 2011, when this was happening, they were 19 years old, just any old random teenager,
Young.
auditioned for a competition show called The Glee Project, where the prize, if you won, it was a singing competition show, was a role on Glee. So they did not win, shockingly. I don't understand how, but they
Jennifer
were one of
Hudson
the
didn't
runners
win
up.
American Idol. She didn't even come close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the two winners, I want to say, got like a 7-episode arc, and Alex Newell got a 2-episode arc.
7?
Yeah.
Shit.
So Alex won 2 episodes, and they put them in as one of the featured performers of like one of the rival Glee clubs that they competed against.
Alex came out on top then because
right. And so, but then the thing was, after those 2 episodes, their performances were so ravenously received that turned into an actual starring role for the next 2 seasons. So Alex Newell was in like, I want to say like 50 episodes of Glee. Right. So that was the very beginning. And then they had a few years post Glee where they were doing a lot of kind of like B-sidey house music. And that was also around the time that they were featured on the Clean Bandit album. One of Clean Bandit's best songs, Stronger, just absolutely insane.
And Alex
so that was
still
kind
does
of
not
the Alex
have
Newell start.
an album.
I don't think so. They are very much more in the line of be the featured singer on some DJ's dance or house track.
Of the many people, often women, but people that fall into that category, I don't understand why it doesn't amount to an album. Like Becky Hill, who was also a British X Factor phenom, I think she did. No, she didn't win. I actually have no idea. Not that it ever matters, but she was on like the first season of, no, not X Factor, The Voice, I think, because Jessie J was maybe her coach. Her voice was so unreal, and then she got put on literally hundreds and hundreds of dance tracks and didn't have an album for like 4 years. And when she did finally come out with an album, it was just the best of the last 4 years. It was like a 17-track album of like just compilations of literally 120 to 125 BPM for like 60 minutes. Like that was the album. It was
and you know why that is? It's because she doesn't write.
Not at all. None.
Right. So like, what can she do? All she can do is what is offered to her. And this is not a knock on her. It's like an amazing, she has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
It's just her lane that she's in, and she fulfills it exceedingly well. But when you're in that lane, you have less control over your output, and you kind of have to rely on what people bring to you. Do you want the perfect little bow to tie all of these loose threads back together?
Absolutely.
There was a song on which both Jess Glynne and Alex Newell were featured together. It's the Nile Rodgers Kill the Lights, which was a drag race lip sync song in season 12. So if we're going to bring drag race into it, there was a moment where the queens were lip syncing to Alex Newell and Jess Glynne on the same song. Although actually, now that I think about it, I think they might have done the version where there was no Jess Glynne.
Okay, so Kill the Lights. Let's see if I can find the one. Okay, can we just name the personnel here? Alex Newell, Nile Rodgers, Jess Glynne, DJ Cassidy, and then there's an Audion remix. Like, that's a pretty who's who of that genre for that moment.
You know that none of them were ever in the same room as any of the others in the process of
No, it's very bang bang. It's very Jessie J, Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande. Have they met? Probably not. So then we have Jess Glynne. Jess Glynne was out on her own before then. Her debut album came out in 2015. What I do remember, it was the winter of 2016. So like the record must have come out like, I don't know, summer fall of 15, and then she was in the US.
September of 15.
Yep. Okay, so then she was in the US cold winter months. I was in Boston of 2016. You went to the show in DC, texted me from the venue, and were like, it's amazing.
With my situationship at the time, which is very funny to look back on now.
Then you texted me and said, go to the show if you can. I did not have a lot of expendable income at the time, but then something happened where like I did a favor for a friend of mine who was like a ticketer on the side, and he was like, I'll get you a ticket to a show. You can have your pick of 2 artists. And I think one was Jess Glynne. I think the other was like, the other may have been Lorde, and I'd already seen her or something.
Oh.
I don't know. And I was like, yeah, no, Jess Glynne. I definitely Jess Glynne, and it was 6 or 7 days after you went, and my friend Emma and I went, and it was extraordinary. She was great. She's so good. And this, for me, was the dawn that I didn't realize at the time, but now we live in like the dusk of it, of like disco pop coming back. I mean, I definitely was not listening to quite as much electronic music as I am now at that time, so I can't say for sure who was doing disco pop or like nouveau house pop in the field, but like that was very standalone at the time. That did not sound like anything in the American market. All of those songs, I mean, we just went through a couple of them on text message. Like Hold My Hand was the lead single, right?
Yep.
And then Ain't Gone Far to Go, I think, is the one that like chemically alters my brain every time I hear it. I'm like, oh 100%. My God, that song. It's so nostalgic. Don't Be So Hard on Yourself is maybe my favorite one.
Yep.
Give Me Something, which is just a hilarious turn of phrase and doesn't sound like what she thinks it does. Rather Be is on the album. I miss one. No Rights, No Wrongs, which is like a cute little disco pop. And then the rest are like strange... like filler.
I will say I like You Can Find Me. I feel like that belongs.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's a good one too.
But then that specifically, that is the last one, and after that, we kind of go off the train tracks.
if Rather Be weren't on the album should end there. Jess Glynne hits me because of her voice. So we just talked about all those vocalists who, whether they ever get an album out or not, whether they're a writer or not, or whether they came from a talent show or something else, become these like powerhouse singers on top of house beats or on top of disco or like this isn't even really EDM. It's just like disco pop. There's so many of them, and this seems like an undying genre. This seems like this genre just keeps living, and now it is like the biggest it's ever been, and it like to me has birthed Dua Lipa.
Yeah,
I
100%.
don't know. How do you feel about that? Like,
No, I completely agree. Because if you go back and look at the earliest releases that Dua Lipa had, she released Be the One in I think the fall of 2015, which
absolutely.
would have just absolutely nail on the head lined up with what Jess Glynne was doing at the time. And I think that what
Are
she
they on
ended
the
up
same
doing
label?
for
Were they
that's a
back
good
then?
question.
Because they were
That
both
is a great
functioning out of
question.
London. Because Dua, I think, began her music career in London, although she's not from London. Dua's album on Spotify, the deluxe album says 2017, but that does not mean that that's when the single came out. Single came out. You are right, 2015, October 30th, 2015. We had Be the One.
And I just looked at it. I Cry When I Laugh and the Dua Lipa debut were both Warner.
You know what this is giving? This is giving Chappell Roan and Olivia Rodrigo. Like, they're coming from the
Very bad.
same people, the
Very
same
bad.
hive mind. It's like a label has funded this producer or this little like camp to like go create, or in both cases maybe like recreate this sound and like do it with like 2 or 3 artists, and like whoever pops off first go off. Like, I don't remember how popular Dua was back then, but Jess wasn't playing big American venues on that tour. She was playing like, I saw her at the Paradise in Boston, which was like a rock club.
Yep, I saw her at the 930 Club in DC, which is still to this day my favorite music venue of all time. But it's like a 2,000 to 3,000 capacity venue.
Oh, I think that would even be generous for where I was. I think mine would have been 15, but I don't know, maybe not. I'm not great with
Well,
spatial.
the thing about the 930 Club is that it's one of those ones where they can move the stage depending on how many tickets they sell, so they can literally push the stage up. Yeah, that's the thing. At least at the 930 Club. And
so, if it didn't sell, the stage is like huge.
So
Jess Glynne walks out and she's like, "Oh my god, it's so roomy."
The stage is on wheels.
It's kind of funny that like the worse you do, the bigger stage you get. Usually the stage is bigger if you're doing better. All right, so Dua and Jess were in like different parts of their path, but in a very similar era. I don't think I clocked that because I don't think anything on Dua's first release was disco. Am I wrong in saying that?
Oh, would you call New Rules disco adjacent? Or
It's
not
a little
really?
quick. The tempo's kind of quick.
Yeah, that's true. That's
It's like
true.
a 140, 150. Disco is like squarely like 115 to 130 BPM.
I'm thinking about what was on that album now, and I don't think so.
I don't even know what I would call that genre back then. It was just pop music.
Yeah, it was just straight pop. New Rules, one of only 2 songs on that album that she did not co-write. She wrote everything on that album, or at least co-wrote everything on that album, aside from Be the One, which makes sense. It was her first song ever, and New Rules.
You said they were signed to Warner, right?
Yes.
Warner is very much a like 360 artist place. Like I like a lot of Warner artists. I believe Warner is a subsidiary or a sister label to Atlantic. I think
It is, yes.
Musicians with real voices who are also songwriters, who I do think both of these women are. So that makes complete sense to me. These are skilled girls, really. And it took me maybe a while to warm up to Dua Lipa, and I'm not exactly the Dua fan that you are, but like she's got skills.
I think the other thing that sticks out about both of them, maybe in different ways, I would say this especially for Jess. I think that her output has been so consistent in terms of the overall sound, that you have to believe that she's doing some of it herself, because no matter who she works with, there is a sort of distinctive Jess Glynne sound that you could hear and be like, yep, that's her. I can hear her, not just in like the vocals, but also in the way that the songs are written. So I think there's that. Dua is a little bit more of a chameleon because she has jumped around a little bit stylistically. Like Future Nostalgia was her big true disco album after the first album.
Yeah.
But I think that she also has a consistent enough voice not just vocally, but then also from a writing perspective. Also, I love that these are two of our lower pitched girlies. You know, you don't have to be a super high soprano. These are both very much altos. And I think I know Dua has. I don't know if Jess has, but I know Dua has explicitly talked about what that was like for her trying to come up as a singer, having that lower register, and how she faced a lot of not hardships, because you know what I'm saying though, like a lot of pushback from people who were saying, oh, you just don't have the voice for it, you don't have the range, you know, literally. But she turned it into a strength rather than a weakness, because you can hear her. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but like even in the singles for this era, even for like training season, you can hear where her break is, where her middle passage is, and it's not very high. It's quite low, but she knows that and she writes to it, and it's very smart.
I totally agree with you. They have beautifully low, very, very, very characteristic, raspy voices. Jess struggled live back then.
Oh, on the struggle bus, now and forever.
Not a great live, gonna hit the notes. As Drew would say, you don't trust her to hit the notes.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not only do you not trust her to hit the notes, you also don't trust her to show up at the venue not hungover. Because I feel like this bears saying. There was this time, it was some festival in the UK where she canceled her headlining set like 10 minutes before she was supposed to go on stage, because she had been out partying with the Spice Girls until like 7 a.m. the night before, which fair, you know, we would all do that, but maybe not if we had a headlining slot at some massive music festival the next day. So I feel like with Jess, you do have to, to a certain extent, call out the professionalism a little bit.
Or lack thereof. That's right. That's right. So, like, theme number 2, Jess is a mess. Like, why is she so messy? And, like, we have a few anecdotes about this, but so she is a songwriter, and yet some of her songs are not well written at all. Some of them are great, and some of them are really the opposite of that. And she doesn't exactly have a way with words. Like, in any ballad, really. The ballads on the first album that stick out to me as like, how did this make it past several boardrooms worth of executives? Why Me was kind of like a weird one. Then we have the completely fucking black sheep byproduct of her and the incredible Emily Sandé, also a singer-songwriter of the time, getting in a room together and then producing a song called Saddest Vanilla, which is literally about crying into your frozen yogurt. That's not a joke. That's what that is. And the hook of that song is, this is the saddest vanilla that I've ever tasted. And by the way, let's give a shout out to Emma. That is, Emma and I became Jess Glynne fans at the same time because we went to the show at the same time. That is ironically but unironically, her favorite Jess Glynne song. She fucking loves that song.
I love that so much.
I love that so much. She loves the saddest vanilla.
The first half of the album is brilliant, with the glaring exception of Take Me Home, which is stuck right in the middle of that first 8-track run, and it completely takes you out of it. It's a terrible, terrible ballad. It's that ploddy 4-chord kind of like whiny, plaintive, just like,
it's like
the lyrics are like a bag of nonsense. It's truly, truly like the stain on that album.
It literally sounds like, hello.
Yeah.
The least happy drummer on the face of the earth.
Yep. Checking the watch. Now, is that technically a drop chorus?
This is a drop chorus. I also just want to let you know we are 1 minute into the song and we have 3 minutes and 23 seconds remaining. She can't hit that note. She didn't even hit it there.
She woke up in the morning knowing that there was one shot. She had one take to get this right, and she could feel it in her throat. She was like, all right, I'm going to try this once, and we're going to try this once. We're going to get it one time. And that was the take they used.
This is, to me, like, in the movie, which I always think is the Dear Evan Hansen movie, and it's not. Love, Simon. Have you seen that movie? It just
no, but
stands as very, like, the Dear Evan Hansen cinematic universe of, like, I don't know, sad boy whose sexuality is unknown wearing a polo shirt in high school. Like, I don't know. And this, to me, is like, I don't know if this happened in the movie or not. He, like, didn't get a prom date, and he's, like, in the corner at the, like, spring fling. This is what's playing when they cut to him.
And all of the other high school couples are dancing like this. The slow dances like this. They're, like, 8 feet apart.
That's exactly right. So Take Me Home is a problem. And On the second album, you were a bit more of a fan of this album than I was in general, but I will give a couple of the singles some due. I'll Be There, I love. I love the song I'll Be There. But then in that exact same spot, you said this over text message earlier that she chooses spot number 4 for the like
I don't get it.
weak bullshit ballads. So Take Me Home was number 4. And on this album, number 4 is called Thursday.
God.
Jess has a way of it's kind of like a Sia-ification of pop writing, but Sia's doing it from a very meta place of like when she talked about how she learned how to write like Chandelier, she was like, I literally looked around my room. No, she's Australian. I can't do it. And she'd be like, I found an object, and like she's like, pop music loves simplicity, so I would just like look around my house, and of course, like, tell us you're rich without telling us you're rich. She's like, I looked at a chandelier, and I just wrote a song called Chandelier. Like she's doing it from like a inside baseball way. Jess is like looking at her daily planner in her iPhone and is like, Thursday. Oh.
I won't wear makeup on Thursday. I'm sick of covering up.
It's so bad. Oh my God, it's so bad.
What's the hook to that song? What's the chorus?
It's really, really bad. I'm not even going to try to sing it.
Again, I just wanna feel beautiful.
Tell us it's 2018. Oh, oh.
Julia Michaels. That's what I hear when I hear this.
That was so accurate. That is exactly what this is.
Which is a problem. It's not. It's.
Which is not.
I hear Julia Michaels
right.
derogatory.
You're right. Come on Twitter.
Can I speak on behalf of this album very
please?
briefly?
And this album is called Always in Between. Another.
Always in Between. It's nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. But I think that it's weird how closely the structure of this album mirrors I Cry When I Laugh, because they both have an intro. Actually, wait. Forget I said that. The UK version of I Cry When I Laugh has an intro. The US version does not. But I think the first half of this album is really
version?
great. I back in the days of LimeWire, yes, I downloaded the UK version of this album.
You are my torrent friend.
Free streaming, right?
Yep.
Right. But FBI, in case you're listening, I think the statute of limitations is expired on that, so don't come after me. Never Let Me Go. Never Let Me Go is one of my actual
Never Let Me Go is a great song.
all-time favorites of hers.
Great
so
song.
I think she loads the like up tempos at the front half of the album, and then the back half is just all of the weird, stupid, sad, slow songs. Like Broken, one of her worst songs ever.
It's already out of tune. No one hit that note. If it's just her.
I will say, one of my favorite Jess Glynne songs of all time is a bonus track on this album, which is One Touch, which is with Jax Jones. And it's just, to me, the apex pinnacle of what she's always driving at. I don't know. Do you know that one? Have we talked about that one
No, in
before?
my head, I'm hearing One Kiss. Back to her counterpart.
Oh, back to Dua.
Oh, I love this song. I forgot about
Great
this.
song. It was a great song.
Promise me you'll catch me when I'm weightless.
Yeah, this is good.
She nails it. The chorus of this song is stupid good.
This is what she's made for. Oh my God, I'm standing up like.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That's where she belongs.
Why can't we get an album of this?
That's all I want from her.
See, you know what the difference between her and Dua Lipa is? Dua gets it. Dua's like, oh, this is what y'all want? Here's 11 of them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Not 15, not 17, not 22. Here's 11 of that. Future Nostalgia. The new one, whatever it's called. Not Training Season.
And Dua always puts her bad ballad at the very end of the album, so you can just pretend it isn't there. She doesn't slot it right in the middle of the way Jess
It's
Glynne
number
does.
11. Every single time. It's number 11 or number 12. She's always had one bad ballad, and it is the last song. You know that it was like a music label concession. They're like, you can have one, but we're not doing more than that because then we're in Jess Glynne ratio. So maybe being in Jess Glynne's tailwinds has made Dua the impeccable, edited artist that she is. That Jess is not. Jess is not that artist. So here we are. We have the third Jess Glynne album 1 week, oddly enough, before we have the third Dua Lipa album. We have Mother or Auntie coming out this week, and then we have Child and like Real Mother coming out next week. Can you maybe just read to us the track list for this 15-song album? And you know what? Before you do that, we did just read a funny little synopsis of what's going on with this album, which is that Jess Glynne departed from her longtime former label, which when you've only released 2 albums on that label definitely means they dropped you. And so I don't know if the new record label's like over investing here. They're overly optimistic. Maybe they haven't heard everything previously, but we have 15 songs on a standard edition. Can you take us through it? Also, what is this album called?
This album's called Jess. All caps.
I would have never. That's so inventive.
Also, the SEO is terrible because if you search Jess Glynne Jess, it's not going to take you to this album. It's going to take you to her like homepage.
SEO might be a Dua Lipa affliction as well, because she had the opportunity to call it training season and she chose radical optimism.
I would never be not mad about that.
Ugh.
So she starts with the intro. She loves an intro. Stilly Me was a single, which I didn't hate. It was it's like a Pitchfork 6.5. Easy. Coming in at the Bad Ballad 4 slot, TBD if it actually falls into that category, but it's the warning sign is there. It's called Say No, which could really, really be bad. It could be a travesty. Followed by Enough. Maybe she's talking to herself at this point. Say no, enough, you know. Friend of Mine, track 6.
Oh, I've heard
another
this one.
single.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's very fine. It's, you know what it is? It has some of that like British like breakbeat. I want to say like rudimental kind of sound, like like very light British garage. It's a little bit of that. Track 7 is called Lying. Save Your Tears. I wonder if that's a cover of The Weeknd and Ariana Grande.
But she's like, I will, however, cry when I laugh, but save your tears.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Track 9, What Do You Do, which was the 4th single, I want to say. So that was another one that I've heard, and I actually love that one. That's one of the Jess bangers. She goes fully back to disco.
Fully. Come on, she made this one for the gays. Like,
I will be requesting this at the club tomorrow night, and the DJ will say, "What the fuck are you talking about?
who,
Does that go away?"
what, where, when, why.
Right. But I'll make the request.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Then track 10, Say It Isn't True.
She really has 2 narratives here. She has like the fun
do something
going,
or don't do something.
Right.
All right, but so track 11, it's called Chair.
Wait, we're here?
Chair. We're here. We're at Chair.
Okay, y'all.
There's a song called Chair on this album.
Track 11 is called Chair.
I need to know what
we're going to be listening.
Is.
We're going to be doing a live reaction to all 2 minutes and 44 seconds of Chair tonight. We just have a sense.
Do you know about love?
Yes.
Great. Track 13, We Had Something. Great. I wonder what it was. 14 is Love Me, and track 15 is Promise Me. So I'm sensing there's a little bit of a theme there.
When you know exactly what an album is going to sound like because of the song titles, I don't think that's a great sign.
No, it's not.
Like track 6 could have just been called like We're Going Through a Breakup. Track 7 is like I'm upset about the breakup. Track 8 is like I feel brokenhearted on Tuesday. Track 15 is like I'm going to the club to forget you. Track 12 is Be Me, Do Me, No Makeup. Track 13 is Did you remember what you promised me when we started dating?
Track 15 is Pick Me, Choose Me, Love Me. Now, if you watched Grey's Anatomy, you would get that reference, but that's for your viewers who are more Grey's aligned than you are.
I am not Grey's aligned. And then track 16 is just called Me.
You know what I want from her? Looking at this track list, I want an album called Jess Glynne's, like a true self-titled, not just Jess. I wanted it to be called Jess Glynne, and then I want a song on that album called Jess Glynne. That's what I want from her.
I am somehow led to believe might be about a breakup. I don't.
The relationship that she's in now has only been a thing since the summer of 23. So it's a relatively new relationship. So she probably was writing about a real life breakup.
Right. And she's saying, I mean, do you know about love? We had something. Say it isn't true. Save your tears. What do you do, friend of mine? Lying. Enough. Chair.
Not chair. Why chair?
Chair. All right. Before we listen to Chair, what do you think the word chair appears in the song?
I think that the chair is a metaphor for a relationship that got too comfortable.
My first thought, and I don't know if she wrote this song for Little Mix or not, is hair.
Oh God.
And instead of gotta get him out my hair, gotta get him out my hair, I hear gotta get me out my chair, gotta get me out my chair.
Or maybe, honestly, maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. And it's not like the physical object of a chair, but like the abstract idea of like the chair of the English department, you know? Maybe she's talking maybe this is like academia related somehow.
It's chair and then in parentheses office hours.
Right.
That's right. The department chair. And that could be her little tongue in cheek, like, you guys get it? But another reason that we, I think, justifiably like lampoon her for this, it's not just because her songwriting is kind of basic. It's like she went through an episode during the pandemic, maybe two. Her look, not physically, but like her like apparatus of self did not sustain very well in the pandemic. If you followed her on social media, she filmed outside. She was living in like some high-rise condo or apartment or whatever, and would film down, looking literally just at people working out outside, going for a run, doing calisthenics, doing body weight training, like what we were all fucking trying to do so that we didn't lose our goddamn minds. And she would film them and make fun of them every day at like 10 a.m. She was filming them and then posting them. And people were literally like, aren't you exercising? This person's just exercising.
It's a bad look.
And then the same era, she goes to this restaurant in like, it was an attire thing, right? Like she wore sweatpants.
It was like a tracksuit or something.
And they wouldn't seat her because it was like a very nice restaurant. And then so she posted a selfie of what she was wearing in the mirror, and then like mentions the restaurant in a tag, and is like mad at them. And then all of the commenters are like, it's like the equivalent of a Michelin star restaurant. You literally cannot wear that there. This is not a woman who's she doesn't have a super firm grip on reality, and she seems to have a very large ego.
Completely. And the whole tracksuit thing was bad enough, but then she described the incident as, oh, they discriminated against me. She used the word discriminated. And at that point, it's just like, okay, so words mean nothing. We're not critically thinking here. Let's do a little bit of self-reflection before we speak.
And then, we try to separate the art from the artist, but she makes it hard to digest the total package. So that is why, but huge figurehead in this genre of music, absolutely. Yep. Chair being on the album did make me wheeze laughter. Like, we don't necessarily know that Chair is a single, but we're pulling for Chair. So, ladies and gentlemen, this may well be the world premiere, because I don't know if anyone else knows that the album is dropping right now.
Watch us both be like completely floored by Chair.
I'm so ready to be floored by Chair. I also am gonna, before we do this, check her YouTube to see what her most recent video was, because a lot of times they'll upload the single. Alec, I don't even know if I can read this to you without laughing. The song is called Easy. The parentheses are, give them their flowers while they can still smell them.
Oh, no.
Would you like to guess how many people are, quote unquote, waiting for this premiere, meaning like clicked follow and are in the queue?
Oh, no. Can you give me an order of magnitude? Is it in the hundreds? No, it can't be in the hundreds. It's got to be like 17.
Alec, I'm going to take a screenshot. It's 3.
No, not 3.
There are 3 people waiting. I'm going to become 4.
I'll be 5.
This is her next music video, and there are 3 people waiting. This is not 1 minute after the drop. This is 90 minutes after the drop, which I imagine was when this was announced. But here we are tonight. This is your first live reaction. I hope it gives. My God. Here is Chair by Jess Glynne off of her 2024 album, Jess.
Trying to keep my head above the water. thought you'd know when I was calling, but it didn't seem to make a difference. Alone, sitting in your chair, and it's sad, facing what is gone. To know
That didn't rhyme.
I belong. That doesn't remind me of us.
Remind. Doesn't remind.
Got it.
It's tough for missing you.
You know what that just gave me?
Alone,
Beyonce in the Lion King song.
sitting in your chair.
Chair was not necessarily the obvious lyric to name it.
There was a lot about like sinking in the water, trying to keep your head above water.
It was water for the first verse, yeah. And then it was the chorus is doesn't want to hear a song that reminds her of us. And then she does say chair, but the word chair isn't used in a rhyme. She says
Where did the chair come from? I thought we were in the water.
it's very love drought. It's the chair tilting, but it's at the beach.
It's alone sitting in your chair, and it's sad facing what is gone. Don't know where I belong, trying to find a song. Oh, that doesn't remind me of us. That's not a rhyme scheme. It's the lyrics, but I feel like it's also the melodies. I feel like the grammar of songwriting is not really being followed here.
Do you have a GPT account? Do you even need one?
Of course I have one.
Can you say, write the chorus of a Jess Glynne ballad about stool or bench? I mean, maybe just do chair.
All right, I said, okay, I want you to write the lyrics to a chorus of a Jess Glynne song called Chair. Okay. Wow, it gave me a verse, a pre, and a chorus, which was more than I asked. The verse is, sitting in the silence, lost in my own space. Weight of the world's got me stuck in this place.
Wait,
But I
pause
won't-
there. Read the first verse of hers, or the first three
Okay.
lines of her actual.
Curled up in a ball, I'm fallen, trying to keep my head above the water.
So
Thought you'd know when I was calling, but it didn't seem to make a difference.
very similar theme, except ChatGPT rightly for a song called Chair talks about sitting right away.
The rest of the verse from ChatGPT is, but I won't let it break me, won't let it win this race, gonna rise above it all, find my saving grace. That's ChatGPT.
Okay.
And Jess Glynne is saying, I just didn't want us to drown, thought we'd find our way back round. Hey,
Why were we talking about water?
I don't know.
Let's let the audience guess which one you're reading.
Chorus one. Alone, sitting in your chair, and it's sad facing what is gone. Don't know where I belong, trying to find a song that doesn't remind me of us. Now here's the other chorus from the other source. I'll stand up from this chair, break free from despair. Won't let the darkness win, because I know I'll find the light again. In the echoes of my soul, I'll reclaim control. I'll stand up from this chair and I'll rise from here.
Clear winner, source 2, does a few things, reiterates the concept at the end to
Yep,
drive home the
yep.
concept.
Yep.
Full A-B rhyme scheme, follows some sort of songwriting pattern. Strong thematic tether throughout.
Yep.
Chair, standing up, rising.
Literally, the first word of the first verse was sit.
Yes.
We're establishing it early.
It gets the theme. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was ChatGPT.
So now that I'm looking at the lyrics on the screen and not listening to her say that, she's sitting in the chair of her ex-lover. She's saying, alone sitting in your chair. So like her ex-lover had a chair that was theirs, and now she's sitting in it to recall the relationship.
Okay.
And it's sad facing what is gone. Don't know where I belong. Trying to find a song that doesn't remind me of us. It's just a weird image. So she's sitting in a chair listening to her iPod. She's trying to find a song.
Yeah, she's got the nano going. She's in the
Right.
chair, looking out a rainy London window, and she's pressing shuffle, but all the songs remind her of them. We don't have to keep this, but Jess has to be a queer woman, right?
Oh, she's dating a woman right now.
Okay, she's talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
'cause for a long time she was
very
not doing
much-
this.
She's still on the I don't want to label my sexuality train.
Yeah.
But she is in a public relationship with a woman.
Okay. I would characterize her sexuality, as far as I understand it, as like soccer player. Jess Glynne looks to me.
Her. All right. Well, now you're gonna laugh because she's
Tell me
currently
the
dating.
bitch is in FIFA or something.
She's literally dating. I want to say it's a women's soccer coach, but I need to just 100% confirm. Let me confirm.
Everyone can cancel me.
Glynne has been in a relationship with Alex Scott, the sports broadcaster and former England women's footballer, since the summer of 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know how to call it. All right.
I don't know what else to say about that.
There's nothing else. She's dating a ref. All right.
Well, no, she used to be a player, and now she's a broadcaster.
Oh,
so
now
she's
a broadcaster. So she looks like this rather than. Okay,
so her Wikipedia page, she's holding a microphone.
I'm picturing her with I've just decided that she's a ref. I don't know. All right. So, is there anything else noteworthy in the ChatGPT chair?
Let me just ask ChatGPT: did you intentionally write this as though you were Jess Glynne?
I didn't know you could make it self-reference like that.
ChatGPT says, yes, I did. I aimed to capture Jess Glynne's uplifting and empowering style in these lyrics, drawing inspiration from her themes of resilience and overcoming adversity in her songs. All right. I'm a little skeptical of this. Okay. Can you cite a specific example
of
from
adversity,
an existing Jess Glynne song where she talks about overcoming adversity? Let's see how well ChatGPT knows Jess Glynne.
ChatGPT's like, in June 2020, Jess Glynne went to a restaurant where she was discriminated against because she was wearing sweatpants.
It says, in Jess Glynne's song, Don't Be So Hard on Yourself, she addresses the theme of overcoming adversity and self-doubt. In the chorus, she sings, and then it goes on to cite the chorus lyrics.
Adversity or self-doubt. Those are, not to split hairs here. I'm going to tell you something, which is that this is the first time, even by proxy, I've engaged with ChatGPT. I've never used it.
So this is a very common ChatGPT thing where if you kind of try to call something ChatGPT on something, it'll kind of immediately backtrack. It said, you're correct. My apologies for the oversight. And don't be so hard on yourself. Jess Glynne primarily addresses the theme of self-compassion and resilience rather than overcoming adversity directly. The song's message focuses on being kinder to oneself and not being too critical, emphasizing self-love and acceptance.
Can you do something with ChatGPT where you're like, what would you rate Jess Glynne as a songwriter?
I don't think it's going to tell me that because
it probably can't do that.
Yeah, well, let's try. What would you rate Jess Glynne as a songwriter out of 10?
6.6. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we're exactly right. As an AI, I don't hold personal opinions or ratings, but I can provide an assessment based on public reception or empirical claim. Yeah, that's right.
Can you ask it, what does the public perceive Jess Glynne's worst song to be?
It's difficult to pinpoint a universally agreed upon worst song by Jess Glynne, as opinions on music are highly subjective and vary from person to person.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for
nothing.
Fine. Okay. Literally the last, it says, instead of focusing on negatives, it's often more productive to appreciate an artist's body of work as a whole, recognizing the diversity of their output and the different ways their music resonates with different listeners. Okay, well, I didn't realize I was talking to a Jess Glynne apologist, ChatGPT.
I'll say I'm thankful that AI is doing shit like that for all the children that are saying sick things to it when our generation was talking to Smarter Child on AIM as if it was a fucking perversion
oh my God,
channel.
Smarter Child.
Yeah, bitch, that was the original crazy. AI, and now the kids
crazy.
Now the kids have this one. So, I'm fine with it being kind, but I wanted it to tell you all that, and then it go dot several hard returns and go but sad as vanilla. It's the worst thing she's ever done. All right, do you want to get 20 seconds in of the new single and then call it? This has been a Jess Glynne-a-thon.
That sounds great.
This is the song called Easy Friends. This is the 5th song that she is releasing from this 15-song album. We've been, a little witty and sardonic for the last, stretch here, but we will both say this. We're hoping and also kind of expecting there's gems in here. This is not a 100% flop artist. This is an artist who flops kind of hilariously. She flops in funny ways, which is why we talk about them. But we love her. This is a girl that we didn't spend a ton of time on this, but really, I think opened up the lane for Dua. I don't think there would be a Dua without, if it's not Jess, someone else before her. So that Dua has been able to literally, as you said, in her wake, clock the missteps and the steps and be able to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like, it feels like Dua is possible because of her. So we have to love her.
I'm fully expecting to be served on this album at least a handful of times.
Totally. Like, with 15 songs, we're going to be served a couple times. So here's easy to play us out. This is let's see how many people are now waiting for this on YouTube.
I am one of them. However many there are, I am one.
Okay, the number is now 6, and we are 2 of them.
So one other person in this whole solitary universe.
Planet. One other human life form on this planet in the last 25 minutes pressed follow. Like,
and I would like to know who that is.
Can we find that? I mean, it's data, right? If I called someone at YouTube.
If I worked at YouTube, I would absolutely be able to go into the database and find that specific information. But I don't, so I can't. But someone could.
It's probably like one of the 2 gay Matts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like.
Oh my God, yes.
Come on, Lil Mix, Glory Days.
Open my eyes and nothing's changed.
I think I'm in.
I'm sick and tired of playing games. It doesn't feel
It's
so
giving
changed.
single.
Yeah.
'Cause when it comes, you make it easy. When it's not
Come on.
easy. When I get that feeling, just breathe this heart.
We're clapping on every beat.
Yeah. White people. This drummer's having a little more fun.
Doesn't sound new at all. It just sounds, aughts pop.
But this is a treadmill song. I'm gonna fall off the treadmill to this.
Oh, I can't wait to hurt myself at the gym today. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm getting something else too.
It kind of sounds like Starships in a really weird way.
I'm getting Leona Lewis Love Letter.
Hell yes, I totally get that.
I'm gonna pop the sunroof to this tomorrow.
This will be like the lip sync on RuPaul season 17, episode 6.
Right.
When like the budget's like dipped.
Yeah, or it'll be on the UK season because they love to do Jess Glynne on the UK season.
Oh, word. Oh, really? How many lip syncs have there been to Jess Glynne songs?
They absolutely did Don't Be So Hard on Yourself. And there
I
might have been
can't
one
wait to look
other.
it up.
But you know what that
Watching.
also gave me? I also got a little bit of like recent Pink.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there was a little trust fall in that.
Well, just a little bit. And
Oh,
the other one,
that's
what's the one where
interesting.
she's skating in the grocery store? What's that one?
Oh, bitch, never gonna not dance again.
Yeah, I got
Never
a little bit
gonna
of that.
not- All right, well, y'all, I hope you enjoyed us just really going off on Jess. We'll follow up with what our favorite tracks are after we injure ourselves, fall off respective treadmills and cardio devices, fist bumping to them. But we have 15 tracks. The runtime is 46 minutes, which means every single track is literally 3 minutes and 1 second. It's been a pleasure to have Alec back, and we have so much more to be doing. This was very fun, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.